been knocked down, too much to knock it back up, and I bring the house down whenever the odds are stacked up against me.
Hey guys, I'm just making this little video, basically about the video that Quinton made with regard to Matt Jensen. If you've been under a rock, Matt Jensen is one of the top bodybuilding coaches. He's recently fallen on some hard times. He had some athletes that did not come in their best condition, in their best size, in their best shape, really missed the mark. He handles people like Sean Clarita. As I said, Quentin, Nick Walker. Nick just recently dropped out of the Olympia because it was announced that he just wasn't looking like he was supposed to. Quentin came in some months back after a long off season with Matt Jensen, smaller than he did when he first started with Matt. So that was a big hit, and it was a fallout with Quentin and Matt after that. Um, it's Nick just announced that he's no longer working with Matt Jensen, and also Brett Wilkins as well announced that. So, but Quentin made this video. We're just gonna kind of go through it. I'm gonna share it, and we're just gonna talk about it as we go. I feel like that's the best way to consider this video, but it's got a lot of interesting points in it, so we're just gonna get into it. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so here we go.
It's a huge congratulations to the new Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda. Congratulations, man. Listen, you're a better man than I am because you've just taken things on the chin. You've never stooped low and people stoop low, and you've just put your work to the talking. So, as a guy that's younger, definitely look up to
So here he's just congratulating Samson and just giving him his props.
master from sport. Genuine guy, real guy, really caring guy. Good job with your retirement. I hope that's what I was chasing. And every time I trained hard, I had them in mind. Also, there's similarities. Somebody that's just a great marketer, because I don't believe that you can be a great coach. Like, if you have a guy like me and you fuck up that badly,
So let's pull back.
people thought great bodybuilder put in money. I invested. It was worse than I was. And I'm not a big fan of pushing food that hard to when you're that comfortable. I do think that there's some pushback, but I really believed in and trusted my coach.
So here he's talking about Matt.
Results during that off season. My coach is Matt Jensen.
There you go.
Fired his ass. Gave him a shit job. Caught his breath.
So yeah, here he starts going in on him.
Well, why did you chance? Listen, motherfucker. I was worse than I was 2 years ago. I think all that time I made all.
So that's the first point that we really have to consider here. Not only did Quentin spend his time, trained hard, did everything he had to do, but after I think it was 2 years, I'm not sure, a year or 2 years of off season where you would think he would grow like like a weed. I mean, he would be huge, enormous. He comes into his show worse than he did before he started working with Matt. So that's just giving you an idea of how angry Quentin must have been.
These sacrifices, and these sacrifices come many shapes.
So this is the first look that he gives you here in this video of before and after. I mean, you can see, that he's if there's any difference, which there really isn't. I mean, I know the pictures aren't exactly taken in the same distance, so the left one looks like it's a little closer, but really, I mean, if there are differences, they're negligible. You could say that he's probably worse at the um the latest picture on the right, I believe, is that one.
Like, money. So I'm paying for whatever it takes to be a great bodybuilder. Put in money. I invested money into this. I invested my time, my energy. I wasn't going out. I was a fucking bodybuilding robot. All I did was bodybuild. That's all I fucking did. I worked my fucking tail off to show up to stage to be fucking smaller. Now, when it first happened, people thought, oh, it's something wrong with him because this guy gets right with every client. Now, let me tell you the difference between a great coach and somebody that
So it's hard to tell in this video if Quentin is just so upset or that his voice is kind of, I don't want to say cracking, it's not cracking, but it's kind of, you can tell he's being like very emotional, or he's just trying to catch his breath. Bodybuilders tend to do that when they're, over 300 pounds or whatever, but which I'm sure Quentin is probably close to that. So it's hard to say, but if he is being emotional here, I could really understand that because just like he explained, I mean, he literally all he did was bodybuild for that entire time, thinking that what he was going to put in, he was going to get something positive out of it, but instead it ended up being a negative. And so, um, try to put yourself in that situation and really realize like how disappointed and depressed you would be. And now, with everything coming out with regard to Matt and his clients, we can kind of see we can kind of see um how when Quentin first fired Matt and all that stuff initially, people weren't sure what's going on or why he would do that, or were really blaming him, as he mentioned in the video. But now you can see that Quentin was in the right to do that, and it was the best decision for him. At the time, people thought, "Oh, well, that was a terrible decision over one show." But really, hindsight being 2020, we really see that he made the better decision. And now, of course, others are following in his footsteps with Matt.
is just a great marketer because I don't believe that you could be a great coach. Like, if you have a guy like me and you fuck up that badly, like this isn't like you just kind of missed. It's not like, okay, shit, we came in with the added size, but we just were a little too soft in the boots, or stomach was a bit bloated from, maybe the carb was too aggressive. This was not that. That's the kind of error that is okay, But I lost 10 pounds muscle. I might put up pictures, videos, so you can.
So here it said it lost more than like 20 pounds of solid tissue. So understand that what's happening here is he was working for these years putting on tissue. So for him to come out and have lost that tissue, and even more so probably than he's put on, it doesn't make sense. I don't even, and Quentin will kind of talk about it, but it just doesn't make sense how that even would happen. Like I mean, you could literally have anybody coach him and that wouldn't happen. So it's almost feels like it would be intentional, but I mean, I know that probably was not intentional, but it almost feels like it would have to be, for that to happen. So.
See how bad the fuck up was. But I lost weight that I had no business losing. And I was leaner years before. Like 2 years ago, I was leaner, 10 pounds heavier than I was this year. And it's just the human body works in different ways for everybody. For a guy like me, and I need to take accountability for some of this because I was willing to do whatever. I'm one of those stupid fucking clients. Like, I just listen. If I trust you as my coach, I listen to everything you say. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. And I trusted his reputation and I trusted his expertise because I thought he knew what he was doing. When in fact, listen,
So I would disagree with Quentin in the sense that I think that's a great quality for a client to do what the coach says. But on the other hand, he's right. I think the reputation of Matt really helped him to overlook some of the dumb or dare I say just stupid decisions or stupid um yeah, I guess stupid decisions that he was making with Quentin. Quinton was saying to himself, well, he has a good reputation. He's bringing all these people in conditioned and, looking good and, which he was. So, but he should have questioned it. But of course, again, that's difficult to do when you're dealing with someone with a very high level reputation. So
he must have never worked with somebody like me. I don't know, but I thought it was just a me thing, and I definitely took it a little bit personal because he gaslit me after it, and he said that my gear was fake. Yes, guys, he told me my gear was fake. It wasn't the 2 hours of fucking cardio that I was doing because you were afraid I wasn't going to show up in shape. It wasn't the 2 hours of cardio. It was my gear was fake. Now, there's
so the gear fake situation, I made a video about this. Dave Palumbo, made a video thinking that it was Nick's gear was fake. It was also something that Matt said about Nick that his gear was fake. So apparently he also made this comment to Quinton as well. And I'm curious to know if that was the same thing that he told Sean Clarita. Um, Something is going on that all these clients all of a sudden are not coming in as expected as was done before by Matt. So gear being fake seems like a plausible thought process, but I don't know if I just don't know if I buy that. But I did before when I made the video, but now with more information, with more people talking about this, I'm not sure that that is the case because that really does just take all the blame away from Matt, and I think he does have a lot of blame to carry for this.
ability after. People are wondering why I fired him. I'm like, well, how do you continue to work with someone when you can't agree on what the problem was? The problem was it was a miscalculation. It was a complete miscalculation for
Yeah,
weeks. Crap.
too much
You know,
cardio.
pushing, 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 ignoring feedback of my knees being hurt, and not being able to get a pump in the gym. Like I was, I was operating just off of passion for bodybuilding and my love for the sport, and just had that that fire. So even as bad as I felt, I'm the kind of person that because I love doing this, that that passion drives me. When I had no energy to do anything, that passion would wake me up at 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. That passion would wake me up and
Yeah, I think he's getting
it
emotional.
was sent to my posing coach. And my posing coach was Joey Belt he was incredible, man. He was there for me. He was there for me every step of the way from the point that him and I started working together, we got really close. And yeah, like anyways, I'm getting carried away. I'm making this video because Nick did not make it to the Olympia. Nick didn't make it to the Olympia, guys.
Yeah.
And people are going to criticize him, as I was criticized heavily too for my appearance at the show. Um, People are criticizing Nick, and listen, like we're public figures, so criticism is fair. However, you're telling me his coach didn't realize something was off. Oh, his body's not responding. You just realized his body wasn't responding, bro. Like his body wasn't responding at 14 weeks out, 12 weeks out, 10 weeks out. At what point do you realize, oh shit, this isn't going to work? So that's the thing. It was the same problem with me to where when you're a client, when you're a solid client, like I am, and like I know Nick is, you're just locked in doing your work. You're just doing your fucking job.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Nick is known for being locked in. Nick is known for not skipping meals, not cheating on his diet, not missing training. So he's known for being all in. So the fact that Nick couldn't get in shape or couldn't bring the look for the first time ever is interesting to say the least.
You're going to be great, whatever. Your coach is telling you this. You believe it. So sometimes as a bodybuilder, like I'm like a 310 pounder, and like I always think that I'm small. I always think that I could be bigger. Now, some people are going to hear me say that and understand it because they feel that way about themselves. themselves. Some people are just gonna think I'm crazy, but it's just normal bodybuilding. That's why a lot of people don't coach themselves because it's hard to be completely objective as a bodybuilder.
True.
That being said, when you have a coach and when you're really trusting a coach, your coach is your set of eyes. So if something's wrong, your coach is supposed to point it out.
Right.
His coach didn't.
Yep.
Some people that I know that saw what he looked like, they said that he was better off pulling out. They said that's
Yeah, that's what Dave said. That's what a lot of people said. That's what Chris Aceto said. He was better off pulling out.
you can't even bring them into the show because of whatever the fuck you put them through or because you failed to notice something. Especially when you gotta move to your fucking state, to your city. Like, guys, right there. You know what I'm saying? Um, it lets me realize the problem that I had wasn't personal. Like, this guy's just not locked in. You know, he's not locked in. Um, Listen, a lot of that fucking target shit was marketing, man. Like, he was marketing. He's a formula guy. He has formulas that have worked in the off season. Yeah, parts of our off season were great. I rate the off season working with him as a 88%, which is like an A plus in Canada. Great, great off season. Well, no, 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 maybe 80% because when I was at 320, he pushed me. He said I was too lean. So he basically pushed me and wanted me to have burgers on every training day.
So 320. He said Matt said he was too lean at 320. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, and in the off season too. This isn't like on like getting ready for a show. This is off season. There's no way he's too lean at 320. But I mean, I just don't see that being the case.
More body fat. And then when we did the prep, one of the excuses at the end was that, you know, we pushed the off season too hard and it was hard to get in shape. It's like, well, you fucking said that. You told me I was too lean. And screenshots. I have an actual WhatsApp conversation.
Yeah, and I don't doubt this. I mean, this is not something that like I would think, oh, Matt wouldn't say this. I mean, it sounds like something he would say. He would say, "Oh, you're too lean, go get some food. Let's get you bigger and bigger and bigger," because that's off season. That's a lot of times coaches will push that, especially ones that don't understand that getting too fat in the off season is detrimental to you when you try to bring yourself in. Plus, you're not gaining any actual muscle tissue, you're just getting fat. So that's what that's what Quinton's talking about here. So when he was ready to dial it in into a show, it was just difficult because he was too fat.
It's not the kind of guy that's gonna like pack some shit unless somebody starts running their mouth and they want to go there. Then of course I have proof. And if you go to something that can be proven that you haven't proven, but you say that that's the reason. Now there's a lot of other high level athletes he's worked with that he's done this to in the past. A lot of
Hmm.
athletes. Again, there's a
Th-
formula. Sometimes works with athletes, sometimes
There were
works with
stories about this.
athletes don't make it to shows. This isn't the first time that's happened. But for some reason, people could keep that shit on the hush hush. People keep that shit on the hush hush. And they only speak about and promote the heat as well. But the reality is, I was duped. I bought into the fucking. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know how to deal with it perfectly, but like troubleshoot, like troubleshoot. Instead, he kept pushing and then just trying to gaslight me. And for me, that's what I don't respect. You listen, I haven't stick what the actual problem was. I just know what everybody else knows. I know the rumors of fake here. I'm telling you, he has told this shit to. I can confront him. I'm not going to throw him under the bus because I'm not trying to bring people in like that. But I can confront at least 11 other people that he's told. I think, yeah, because
Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem here is that people are coming into a realization that Matt is not taking responsibility and just trying to throw the blame onto the athletes, which is not uncommon, but for someone of his stature, you would think that he would, take some responsibility on himself. That way, that way at least he could mitigate some of this type of reaction. But because he's blaming it on gear or he's blaming it on, something else, this kind of what it does is just bring more fire to the situation and scrutinize his character.
I think that versus the look that they brought are not the same thing. You brought this guy in like me. Now, he has a lot more muscle and training density than I have, so he still looks decent, but it's like, man, like once you put on that tissue, like he was the giant killer. And
So he's talking about Sean Clarita.
it's common denominator. One guy didn't make it to the show. One guy, like a fucking swimmer, I guess. And then Sean also shows up undersized. So I guess I say all that stuff to say
Yeah.
Instagram and about the Thigh Gap community. I would like to welcome Nick and Sean into the Thigh Gap. And I'd like to let you guys know that you guys are welcome here. It's a very inclusive group of people. We get together for a quiet time on Thursdays. So yeah, welcome to the Thigh Gap community. And I just hope everybody. I'm happy because I've been getting a lot of messages and comments, and I figured
That's wild. Okay.
Whatever backlash happens, if there isn't, that is a fucking coaching issue. It took you fucking over 10 weeks to realize he might be using fake gear. No,
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah. So he's pointing out the fact that it's becoming one of these things where it's common now knowledge that and widely spread that this is what Matt is doing. He's blaming fake gear. And we know, if it was fake gear, like Quinton's saying, you would think you would notice it 10 weeks out, 9 weeks out, 11 weeks out, not 1 week out. And I was listening to Dave Palumbo and Chris Aceto. Chris was saying, well, maybe they did know about it earlier and just decided to announce it a week out. But I don't. I don't know. I don't see that being the case, why they would wait all the way up to the end and why they wouldn't correct it. If let's say the gear's underdosed, why they wouldn't immediately rush to try to correct it, at least try to bring him into, decent shape. But it seems like, I mean, when I saw Nick and what people are saying and what Quentin just said about people seeing Nick's pictures, I mean, they immediately realized that something was wrong, like that he should not have done the show. So for Matt not to know it until a week out is crazy. I mean, it really is just crazy. So
winning with his wife, this is going to do that. A lot of these coaches are not. Yeah, it hurt me emotionally, guys. It hurt, so it's hard to put that trust. I believe way too much shit going on, and, it is what it is. Now,
all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna kind of stop it here. The rest is Quentin kind of talks about the fact that he just doesn't he thinks that coaches are kind of overrated, and we can talk about that in another video. Maybe I'll get a guest on to talk about that. But that's it. I mean, so it looks like it looks like this isn't the first time Matt has done this. Looks like all his athletes are coming in, out of shape and off the mark. And we know that not only Quentin but Matt, I'm sorry, Nick, Clarita, I'm pretty sure Clarita as well, and Brett are all not working with Matt Jensen. And from what I'm hearing, Matt will not be working with many people, if anybody at all, after this point. So we'll see what happens. But click the like and subscribe button, and there'll be more videos like this and training videos and just interviews with different athletes on my channel.